Hi there, I'm Kelly from kellyelena.com, and I am going to walk you through 5 steps to eliminate your email overwhelm. Can I get an amen? Yes, please. This is something that I have struggled with myself, and I have finally developed a really organized system to make sure that email is not taking up tons of my time and that I can very quickly do what I need to do each day so that I can spend time on the things that are most important to me. So I'd like to share with you how I have my email set up, and I hope that it will be helpful for you as well. So here are the 5 steps we are going to go through. Number 1, if you do not have a Gmail email account, I highly recommend it. Since I have switched over to Gmail, my life has become much easier in regard to email. I've found that there are just many more capabilities that Gmail has made my life easier. So I'm going to show you really quickly how to set up your free Gmail account. And also, if you're interested in the business Gmail account, at the current time, it costs $5 per month. I don't actually use the business account. Maybe I will in the future, but I'm finding that the free version has worked well for me thus far. In step 2, I'm going to show you how to unsubscribe from unwanted emails really quickly. I was unsubscribing in a really slow and not fun way, and I found a way that will make it a super duper snap. So that's your second step. We'll move on then to step 3, how to organize your messages into big categories. And from there, we move to step 4, where you'll apply filters and labels to really clean up your inbox and keep it small and easy to manage every day. And then step 5 is really simply fine-tuning your preferences over time. It's important to just kind of get your system set up and then tweak and adjust as time goes on to really maximize your email experience. And then finally, if you want to stick around to the end, this is not a step to eliminate your email overwhelm, but just to customize your account. I'm going to share with you my favorite features and just how I have a few things set up inside my own account. So let's get started with step number 1, setting up your account. This is super simple. You'll simply go to google.com, but before you do that, I want to show you the difference between free and the business account. So it's actually called Google Apps for Work, and what you can do is get a custom email address. So think of whatever your website domain is, and you can have your custom email at yourcompany.com. You'll also get 30 gigabytes of storage, which with the free version you have 15 at the moment. And it's compatible with Microsoft Outlook and other popular email clients. You won't have any ads to worry about, and you do also get support 24/7, which is a nice feature because as I was getting set up on Gmail, whenever I was running into a problem, I had nowhere to go for help. You don't get any support with the free version, and it's kind of hard to find people who can help you other than through forums when you run into any trouble. So for $5 a month, it might really be worth it. At this point, I don't think that I need it, so I am sticking with free for now. So when you go to google.com, you'll notice the sign in button in the top right corner. You will click that, and then you have the ability to create a new account down here. Now, chances are Google is everywhere, so you might already have an account, so don't worry about that. But creating an account is really simple and really fast, and you can do it right here with this little link at the bottom. Once you have your account set up, there are two ways to get into Gmail. You'll have your little picture here in the corner with your account, and then you can either click Gmail, the little link up at the top, or you can click on this waffle and select the Gmail icon with the envelope with the red M symbol on top. And that's how simple it is. Getting started is really quick and really easy. Now, something else I would like to say is if you are using a different email provider right now, but you're thinking that you want to switch to Gmail. This was my case. I had been using Hotmail basically since email was invented. We're talking way back. This is the first account I ever set up, and it was through Hotmail. And I have used it forever and ever. Even in college, when you're given a college email address, or when I got my first job and I had an address for my job and different things like that, I have always kept this Hotmail account. And that's what I have been using for years and years. So more recently, within this past year, I decided to switch over to Gmail. Now, I already had a Gmail account, but I just didn't use it. It just looked overwhelming and confusing and so very different from my Hotmail account, so I just really avoided it like the plague. I just did not have time to figure it out. So I finally decided, when I was way overwhelmed with too much email and things were unorganized and wasting my time, that I needed to do something about it. And that's when I found a workshop online that was very, very reasonably priced, and I paid for it, and I attended, and I said, this is a priority, I need to get this figured out. And it was for using Gmail, and I said, you know what, if this person has a great way to handle Gmail and get my email under control, I'm all about it. So I signed up for that workshop. I got everything straightened out, and I didn't have to close my Hotmail account. So if you have another email provider that you've been using and you're reluctant to switch because you don't want to miss all of the emails that come into that account, you don't have to delete the account. What you'll do is simply go into your email provider, and you will forward all of your mail to your new Gmail account. So I would recommend just going into your email provider and doing a search on how to forward, and I'm sure they'll have directions for how to do that. In Hotmail, it was really very easy. So whatever accounts you want to go to Gmail, you can set that up, but you do need to set it up from your other account. So have that account forwarded to Gmail, and then you'll be good to go. And you can do that with multiple accounts. So I only ever log in to my Gmail account now, and I have two other accounts forwarded. So I have the Hotmail account, that's my personal account that I've had forever and ever, and then I have a business account, which is my @kellyelena.com email, and that comes into Gmail as well. So there's no need for me to log into different emails throughout the day. Everything is right there for me inside Gmail. Okay, so now we're ready to move on to step 2. And this really might be the most exciting step of all, because this is all about getting rid of the tons of email that you don't need. So step 2 is unsubscribing really quickly. So this has been probably one of my biggest email headaches, is just being subscribed to way too many subscriptions and having my inbox totally flooded with all kinds of messages that I didn't want to read or didn't have the time to read immediately. So the only way that I handled this in the past was I would see an email and decide I don't really want to be subscribed to this anymore, so I'd have to open it, scroll all the way to the bottom, find that little unsubscribe link, click it, and then sometimes you would be leaded to another page where they were asking you to click on more things and more buttons, and it was really, really time consuming. So the great, amazing news is you don't have to do that anymore. There is this awesome website called Unroll Me, and it's simply unroll, ROLL.me. And it will allow you to unsubscribe from as many of your subscriptions as you want all at one time. So we're going to go there right now. So I am already in my account here, and you can see the web address is right up here, unroll.me. And when you sign in for the first time, I'm going to log out just to show you. So down here for sign up. Okay, so this is what it will look like when you want to sign up for the first time. You'll enter your email address, agree to the terms, and continue. Then what will happen is it will prompt you to give them the okay to go into your email and collect everything that is subscription based. Every single thing that's in there that's subscription based. And once they do that, they'll give you the list of all of those subscriptions. Now I'm going to go ahead and get in my account so you can see they will continue. Okay. I don't know why it won't let me in now. Let's back it up. Okay, so we are inside my account, and just to show you what it will look like, I'm going to go to edit subscriptions, and you'll be able to see when you first get started, they'll give you all of your subscriptions in alphabetical order. And then what you will do is you'll have a choice on the side between 3 items, and it will look like this. You can add it to your roll-up, you can unsubscribe, or you can keep it in your inbox. So add to roll-up means that they will collect all of those subscriptions from your inbox every day, so that instead of seeing them in your inbox, you can see all of your subscriptions in your roll-up. So let's say you got 30 emails from different subscription services in one day. Instead of having them pile up in your inbox right in front of your eyes, they're going to pile up in your roll-up. So all you have to do is open your roll-up if you want to check and see, just scan through those 30 emails and see what came in. So it really frees up your brain space to not have to sort through and to just really quickly see what you want to see and open what you want to open. Also, this is the exciting part, you can unsubscribe right here. So you can go down through and you might see a ton of different subscriptions that you didn't even realize you were subscribed to, and you don't want to be bothered with anymore. So just unsubscribe, unsubscribe, unsubscribe. You can get rid of a ton all in one shot. So that is like transformational for me to be able to get rid of that many subscriptions. And you can see just yesterday, in fact, I unsubscribed from 58 different emails. It was incredible. Now, any that you do want to make sure hit your inbox, you don't ever want to miss, you'll just click keep in your inbox. So it's really, really simple to organize which you want to do what with. So you have 3 basic choices. Then every day they will collect a roll-up for you. So I have 62 emails right here for March 31st that I can simply scroll through and take a look at right here if I want to. Okay? You can set it in list view or you can set it in grid view. Whatever you prefer. I kind of like the list view because I like to see the title first and then see a little image next to it. And if you decide you've been subscribed to something for quite a while but you're just sick of it, you can unsubscribe anytime you want. So this has been absolutely amazing for me. And you can also edit, which is where I was. It will show you any new subscriptions that have come in. So if you do all of your unsubscribing on one day really fast, but then as you check daily, you don't even have to check daily, but whenever you decide to come and check and see what subscriptions have come in and if you want to read anything, you'll also find that it will pull out any new subscriptions so you can decide whether you want to add those to your roll-up, unsubscribe, or keep in your inbox. So really amazing. I highly recommend it, and it is free. Totally cool. Okay, so you want to definitely start by unsubscribing from whatever you don't want to be seeing anymore. Then we can move on to step 3, which is where you start to categorize your email into big categories. So I'm going to come into my Gmail account right here. And now this might look different than yours. I have selected a yellow background just because I want it for right now just to be bright and cheery. I don't want to come into email with a negative, dark mood or attitude. I want to just be cheery about it, get it done, and move on. So that's why I've chosen the bright, sunshiny yellow background. And I'll show you how to do that if you're not sure. I will show you that at the end where you can customize some things. So after you have decided you're satisfied with the emails that you are receiving and you've unsubscribed from the ones that you don't want, it's time to brainstorm your organization of your messages. This is going to save you so much time and brain space if you're like me and you don't want to see everything coming into your inbox every single day. So I used to have between, I would say, 100 and 200 messages coming into my inbox every day. I am not even kidding you. It was a nightmare. So now that I've reduced my subscriptions, I have about 50 to 60 emails coming in each day. But the good news is that I don't want to see 50 to 60 emails in my inbox. So by organizing and categorizing, I actually only see a few. I would say I see less than 20 a day. Usually it's more like 10 to 15. Because the truth of the matter is that just sifting through wastes, for me, a huge amount of time. Just deciding what I want to read, what I need to read, and what I don't want. So by categorizing and then going into the next step to filter, you'll only see in your inbox what you want to see, which is a huge relief. So, before we talk about labels and filters, let's talk about the categories. So by categories, I mean what we have over here on the left side panel. Now, Gmail is going to give you categories, but you don't have to see those categories if you don't like them. So when you click the more down here, you'll see other categories. So these categories are the ones that Gmail likes to use: social promotions, updates, and forums. And when you first get your account started, you'll see those categories most likely up here across the top. They'll have 4 tabs, and you can get rid of those. Not rid of them, they actually don't let you delete them, but you can hide them. So when you click on this arrow to the right of categories, you can see hide, and click on that, and what that means is they will be hidden when you click the more and the less. So I don't really particularly like Gmail's categories, so I have them hidden so that the only way to see them is by clicking that more tab. Otherwise, I simply have the categories that I want to see up here. Okay, so let's talk about what these really are. These are called labels according to Gmail. In other email providers, they might be called folders, but there's really a key difference between folders and labels. A folder, like I had in Hotmail, would be more like you can assign one message to one folder. Like think of a physical folder that you can open up and put a paper into. You can put one paper into one folder, right? You can't put one paper into multiple folders. So the neat thing about Gmail is that with labeling, you can actually take a message and put it into multiple labels. So for example, I have some sub-labels under business resources, and let's go to design. So these are emails that have something to do with design, web design, things like that. And I'm going to show you this last email down here that is called Rock Those Pictures number 7. I have 2 different labels on that. I have it in design because it would be an email. It's actually a free email course all about how to take great photography. So I have it in design, but I also have it in another label that I have called free challenges and courses. So you can see that right underneath design over here on the left. So when I open that one, we can find that same email, and I'm looking and I didn't see it right away, but here it is. Okay, Rock Those Pictures number 7. So now if I want to be scanning through all of my design emails, I'll find it, but also if I'm scanning through free challenges, I will find it that way as well. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. All right, so how do you come up with these categories? How do you decide how to organize your email? Well, the first thing I would do is, go back to step 2, the unsubscribing, and make sure you unsubscribe from everything that you don't want to have first. Then look at what emails you do have that you want to keep and think about how you would separate them into different categories. Keep it small and keep it simple. I would recommend only having a very small handful of categories to help you keep everything streamlined and easy to navigate. When I was in Hotmail, I had probably between 30 and 40 folders, and it drove me crazy because I couldn't remember what folders I had, and then I ended up making duplicate folders and named them different things, and it really got to be a mess. So I would say the smaller you keep it, the easier. Now, to create your categories, so I would just do this on paper first. I would kind of scan through all the email that you have saved and think about what categories you might want to use, and if you want to have a category for business and one for personal, or however you like it. I have mine separated a little bit differently. So I have personal, and then I have subcategories under that. And then I have things dealing directly with my business, and I titled that with my business name, Kelly Elena. And then I have subcategories under that. And then business resources are things that don't have to do with my business, but they're things that help me learn about whatever I want to learn about. So you'll see I have a lot more subcategories here. I wouldn't necessarily need to, but if I'm really wanting to spend some time looking at just topics dealing with blogging, then I can just pop in here and kind of see what I might want to pull out and learn more about blogging. Same thing with design or with coaching or with branding or whatever. So these are my categories, but yours obviously are going to be different. And then admin tools. These are for emails that have something to do with tools that I use. Like it might be Canva, or it might be Post Planner, or some sort of online tool that I use to help my business. So those go in there. And I also have logins. Any email that I get that has login information for me, I want to make sure if I somehow forget it, I have a place where all of those emails are stored. So I have pretty simple big categories, but then I get more specific when I get into the subcategories. So if you're not sure how to set those up, what you need to do is go to the more and go all the way to the bottom to create a new label. So you simply click create new label, you enter whatever title you want, and nest label under would mean if you want it to actually be a sub-label under a bigger title, you would click that and then you would select what you want it to go under. So you can, that's how you do your sub-labels. So then when you have your labels decided, I think it's helpful and fun to color code them so that when they actually show up with your email messages, they'll be color coded. So you can see that this one says unroll.me, and that is orange, and it matches the category over here. Now, I did not actually create this category. When you use unroll.me, which was this website that I showed you earlier for unsubscribing and for putting all of your subscriptions into one roll-up, when you set that up, it will automatically create its own category for you. All you have to do is add the color. So when you're ready to add your colors, you simply go to the down arrow and then label colors at the top, and you come over here and you pick whatever pretty colors you want to use. So I would start by creating these big categories, and then when you're ready to add the smaller subcategories, all you do, again, is click that down arrow and then click Add Sub-Label. So when you click that, you can enter the name of the new label, and then you'll want to nest it under the correct category. So if I have a new business resource sub-label, I would make sure that I select Biz Resources here rather than coming and selecting something else. So you click Create, and then again you can add your color. I'm going to click Cancel because I don't want to add any more sub-labels right now. Okay, something else you can do is to manage your labels. Click More again, go all the way down to the bottom, and when you click Manage Labels, you're going to find all of your labels right here. And this is actually also under Settings which you can find over here at the wheel. When you click this and go to settings, then you can click labels. So you can get into it either of these ways. Now, what you see here is either show or hide. So the ones that you want to show up on the left, obviously you'll click show, and the ones that you don't want to show up will be hide. They'll be hidden. Now, you can't delete them. For some reason, Google really wants you to have certain ones, so you just simply hide them, like I said earlier. Okay, so this is another place where you can see all of them. I find it's usually easier, I think, just to handle them over here on the side, but if you like to do it inside the settings, you can do that as well. So I'm going to come back to my inbox, click here, and so now again you can see the major labels are shown, and the ones that are hidden again are down when you click the more. Okay. So that's basically how you set up your labels. Now, how do you actually sift and sort them and make this whole thing work? That is step number 4. So let's move to step number 4, and this is how you're actually going to work the magic of making your emails go where you want them to go so that you only see what you want to see. Okay, so this step is actually going to take the most time, but it's completely worth it. And I would say just set aside a few minutes each day because you'll want to take a look at what comes into your inbox and label it and filter it appropriately so that from that moment forward, it will continue to do the same thing from there on out. If you have certain emails coming from a certain sender that you always want to come into one of the labels over here rather than hitting the inbox, you can set that up. So that's the kind of thing I'm going to show you now. But again, this is something that when you get comfortable with this process, you'll keep doing it for several days until you find that your inbox is how you want it to be and you don't have extra things coming in and landing there that you don't really want. Okay, so this is how you get to inbox 0, because if you only have, like I have 8 emails here right now, it's not so hard to handle 8 emails. So when I decide to come take care of all of these, I will be at inbox 0, meaning I have nothing left in my inbox, which is magical. Now, you might be wondering also why it looks like I have 2 inboxes. It looks like I have another one down here. And that's something that I'm going to tell you more about at the end when we get to customizing if you're interested. These are the ones that I might not want to take care of immediately, but I want sort of a to-do list for when I have time to do them. So I just keep them here in this kind of holding box with a purple star so that I can get to these at a different time when I'm ready to do that. Okay, so think about what you actually do want to see in your inbox each day, and everything else you're going to filter so you can look at it when you want to. Okay, so your eyes are not totally overwhelmed by what's there, and you're not totally overwhelmed by the number here. There are certain things that you know can wait, and they're the things that are going to hop past the inbox. They're not even going to land there. They're going to land over here. Okay, so the easiest way to do this, there are 2 ways. One is if you know right away that you want the email to land over here and you don't even want to take a look on the inside, you can click on the box here and then you will go to more and filter messages like these, and then you can decide, okay, anything that comes from this email address here, you can leave that email address and then click Create Filter with this search, and then here's where you decide what to do with it. So if you don't want it to land in the inbox, you click Skip the Inbox. Then you can decide, do you want it to show up as already read or not read? So if it's something that you don't want any notification about at all, you don't want to see a number, you don't want anything to be bold over here, if something is bold on the side, it means there are things that are not read. So if you want it to just be something that maybe you take a look at a certain category and just scan through whenever you want, and you don't really have to be bothered by that notification, then mark it as read so that it won't ever bother you. Then I would also choose Apply the Label. And this is where you see all of your categories and subcategories. So this is telling you if it's going to skip the inbox, this is where it's going to land. So for me, this is one that, let's say, we'll put into my category of newsletters. Now, I have a specific category for newsletters, but I really could just rely on the unroll.me, because that's really what's happening with unroll.me is it's taking all of my subscriptions and making its own category. So I kind of have two categories going on right now. So I might decide to delete this one later, but this is what I started out with before I found unroll.me. So for now, I'm going to have it not hit the inbox. It's going to be marked as read, and it's going to land instead in my category, or I'm sorry, my subcategory called Business Resources Newsletters. Now, if there are any other messages currently that match this, you can click this box here, and it will scoop up all of the matching conversations and put the same filter on it so that they all go there at the same time. Okay, so we will create filter, and we can then hop over here to check to see that it's there. So I'm going to click here to go down to newsletters, and you can see I have a bunch of unread ones there, and I actually do not see it. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, so there were other ones that came in after it, so that's why. So they come in time order. They show up in your subfolder. So after this one came in, several others came in, and that's why it wasn't at the top. So that makes sense. Now this one has not been enrolled in the Unroll Me yet. So the next time I go to Unroll Me, I will make sure I add it there. Okay, so that's a really simple way to do your filter. Now, let's say you have certain emails that you do want to land in your inbox, but then you don't want them to stay there forever. You want to see it, and then you want to put it in a label on the side. So for example, I like to see bills come into my inbox because I want to know that they've been taken care of, but then I want to move them. So here is one from Pen Waste. Now, I would click it, open it up to see what's going on here. And so the bill has been paid. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to labels. So I'm not going to filter it, because I do want it to come to my inbox. I want to see it and then take care of it quickly. So I will come to labels, and I'm going to uncheck the updates, and I'm going to go down to personal, and this is a receipt for me, and then I would click apply, and then it's going to match the color anytime you have a label on something. If you do a filter and label it, or you just do the label by itself, it's going to match the same color that you have on the side. So I have all of my personal sub labels in green. I could do them in different colors, but I like to keep the sub-label is the same color as the regular label, so it comes up green. Now, since I've read it, I don't need it in the inbox anymore. So I can click this X for the inbox to take it out of the inbox. Something else you can do is simply hit the archive, and that will also take it out of your inbox without deleting. Archive does not delete, it just takes it out of your inbox. That means anytime you want to search for an email, if this somehow got, I don't want to say lost, but let's say I needed to find this email, I could type in pen waste, and Google's search inside Gmail works just like Google's search inside Google. So the search feature is actually really, really amazing. So as long as you don't delete something forever, you will still always be able to find it. So I would just search for it, and then it would pop up if I didn't want to go through the sub-label to search for it. So this is really probably the easiest way to find things you're looking for when they're not in your inbox. Okay, so then when I click the back button, it's not going to be in my inbox anymore. Okay, so it used to be here, and now it's disappeared, and now I'm down to 6 messages. Okay? Let's see. So this one is from my husband, and it's about soccer for one of my kids. So let's say I didn't need to read it and I just wanted to label it. I would just click the box on the left. I would label it with personal, and it would go with family. And I would apply that label. Now you can see it's still in my inbox. And let's say, I don't want to read it right now, so I'm going to mark it as read, and then I'm going to archive it. Zoop. And then you'll see if I go down here to personal family, we'll find it over there. There's that same message. Okay? And we'll come back to the inbox. Okay. I think those are the functions that I use the most. I would definitely recommend just sort of playing around with it and experimenting and see what works well for you. But really, I would say your filters and your labels are going to be your very best friends. So just to recap, the filter is going to identify what you want to do with certain messages. If you want them to skip your inbox and land over here, and the labels are going to tell your filters where to go. So they will direct them to the appropriate categories. And like I said earlier, you can give one message more than one label. So I could have a certain message skip over my inbox and actually land in 2 or 3 or however many of the categories that you want. But you probably wouldn't ever label something more than with, 2 labels. 3 would be a little bit much. So just keep that in mind. Okay, you're going to do this for several days until you find that your inbox is just such a relief and so refreshing just to see that you're only getting to see what you really want to see each day, so that you know you're not missing out on important things, and the things that aren't as important or aren't as time sensitive are landing over here. Okay, and this is going to take so much stress off your shoulders. So step number 5 is really just adjusting and tweaking to fine-tune your preferences over time. You might just figure out a different way that you like to filter things, or make certain little adjustments, or maybe change your labels a little bit over time, so that the more you do this, the better and the easier and the faster your whole email experience is going to be. So step 5 is just the sort of daily tweaking as you go. Now, if you're interested in any extra features, we're down to the bonus part of the video at the very end, where I'm going to show you some other fun little things you can do. So let's start off with my favorite settings, and also I talked about how this looks like a second inbox, so I'm definitely going to show you that. Now, there are a lot of things you can do inside your Gmail settings. I am only going to show you the things that I find helpful because I don't want to be too overwhelming. So to get into settings, you come to the wheel here, you go down to settings and click. And I'm just going to fairly quickly go across all of these categories at the top. So when you're on general, what I find to be the most helpful is maximum page size. I have selected 10 conversations per page, which means that when we come back to the inbox, I will only ever see 10 emails in a row. If I had 20, that just gets to be too overwhelming for me. I just don't like to see that many piled up here. So I've set it to 10, so I will never see more than 10. And then you click the arrows to go through. So if I had more than 10, I would click this arrow and I would see the next 10. Okay, so that just sort of reduces my stress a little bit. So we're going to go back to settings and general again. And the next thing that I think is helpful is to set your text. So I've selected Verdana as my font, and I believe you can set your size. So I have it normal, and your color, but I wouldn't get too crazy with your color. Then the next thing that I have found helpful is I've selected the purple star as the star that I use because I like purple. You could, if you want to use stars, I'm not really going to get into that here, but I use the purple star to show my to-do emails that go into that second little quote-unquote inbox. It's not really an inbox, but it looks like an inbox underneath my larger inbox. So that's why I have that one selected. So if you want to do a similar thing, you can pick your star there. I think it's also nice to have your picture selected so that other people who are using Gmail can see that picture when they get an email from you. So I would definitely upload a picture there. And then signature, to have a custom signature at the bottom of every email. You can type in here whatever you want. You can add a picture, so if you want to add your logo. You can add links, so if you want to have links to your social media and that kind of thing, you can get pretty fancy down here in your signature. Okay, and if you are not going to be available for a certain amount of time, you can put your responder on and have a message so that when people message you, they get an automatic email saying, I'm out of the office, I will be back on such and such date. So that can be super helpful too. Okay, so those are the things I like from the general tab. Moving over to labels, we already looked at this, and this is where you can show and hide certain labels from your left side menu over here. Going over to inbox. These are the categories that Google gives you: social, promotions, updates, forums. If you have those clicked, I believe they'll show up at the top of your inbox. And if you don't want them, you will unclick them. So I'm going to click them to see what happens. And let's go back to the inbox. Your changes have not been saved. So cancel. So let's save those changes and go to our inbox. Yes, so that's what happens. So if you like those tabs, you can do that. I do not particularly like those tabs, so I'm going to settings and to inbox, and I'm going to take those off. Okay. Now that is about it. Oh, if you want to show markers, that yellow arrow will mark certain emails as important. Google or Gmail recognizes what direct mail is coming to you, things that people are actually typing your address in. So when your address is actually typed into an email, I believe it recognizes that in some way and will put that yellow arrow if you like that. So you can see that's why I have some yellow arrows there. Okay, sorry, I can't speak today apparently. So that's inbox. Next, accounts and import. So if you are importing into Gmail, you can see your other addresses here. And if you want to be able to send from those addresses, you can set that up here as well. So you can set your default here. So I use email mostly for business, so I actually have my default as kelly@kellyalena.com. So even though I'm actually writing my email inside Gmail and I'm sending from Gmail, when someone else receives my email, it will look as though it came from kelly@kellyalena.com. So hopefully that makes sense and you can play around with that. Now here's where I feel like I don't need the Google Apps for Work yet, because I don't need to spend $5 for them to make kelly@kellyalena.com for me. I already have that email set up somewhere else and I have it forwarded to this account. So just by setting the default here, I'm actually able to send mail from Gmail that looks like it's from my domain. So hopefully that makes sense. So I feel like I don't need to spend $5 a month for Google to do that for me. Now obviously I would get more space in my email and I would get support if I need help from Gmail, so that's something to think about. But for now, this is why I feel like I don't need Google Apps for Work. Also, if someone sends me mail to my Hotmail account, I have this one clicked so that I can reply from Hotmail. So instead of having it always send from kelly@kellyalena.com, it would look weird if someone was emailing to my Hotmail account and then I replied with kellyalena.com. So I have this clicked so that I can reply from Hotmail as well. So that is a handy feature to have. All right, so that's about it for this one. Clicking over to filters and blocked addresses. So when you create all of the filters that we talked about in step 4, each one of those is going to show up over here. And you can see that I have a bajillion filters because I don't want things eating up my inbox. So I have a lot of different things going on. And some of them I have getting marked as read, so I don't even see them unless I'm kind of searching through a category. And some of them I do have, I leave them unread. So when we come back over to Biz Resources, you can see that it's bold, and that's because I have some things that are unread, because there are certain newsletters that I just kind of like to see, that I like to have jump out when I search through here. So I leave them marked as unread so that when I'm looking through, I can, my eyes are caught by the ones that I really actually do want to make sure that I see. And then if I want to have them marked as read, I can click this box up here at the top, and then by selecting all conversations, so you can see 2,522 conversations, that's a lot, and there's no way I'm reading all of those emails. There just is no way. And if I want to get rid of this 67 here and just say, you know what, it's fine, I don't need to read all of these, I just want them to kind of like get that bold taken away so I can scan through and just find what I want when I want it, then I would click here and it's going to take care of the whole category, the whole entire label for me of making them all red. So now I click mark as read, and then it's going to ask you, are you sure? Okay. And it might take a minute because that's a lot to take care of, and then boom. When I click over here again on the side, now you can see newsletters is no longer bold, and there's no longer that 67 there. They've all been marked as red. and the same over here. So Biz Resources is no longer bold because everything has been marked as red. Okay, so let's come back into settings. And we were at filters and blocked addresses. So if there's any filter here that you decide, oh, I had that filtered, but I don't want it filtered anymore, you can just simply click delete and take that filter away. Or if there's something you want to change about it, let's say you had it being marked as red. This one I have being marked as red, but I really decide I want it to show up bold instead and be unread, then I can just click edit and I can fix that. All right, so that's about it that I do inside that one. So come over to forwarding. Now, I am not an expert on POP and IMAP. So if you have questions on that, I would definitely Google it because that is beyond my brain capacity at the moment. So there's really not much that I do here. Probably not anything that I do here. Going next to chat. If you want to be able to chat with people that you're friends with on Google+, you can turn your chat on. I don't really know if anyone does that, so I have it off. Labs. This one can be interesting. These are things that Google is playing around with and they're testing out. And so if you want to test it out, you can enable any of these features, or you don't have to. So the one that I have enabled that I really like is multiple inboxes. So if you like that idea of having a to-do list of emails inside your entire email account, click enable, and when you come back to your inbox, you will see you'll get this extra box down here. Now you won't have anything in it yet if you haven't used it yet. You'll just see whatever you decide to title your boxes. So I have 2 of these, and I think you can do 5. So I have one labeled to do, and one is for my drafts, because if I start an email and I don't have time to finish it, I want it to show up here so that I don't forget about it the next time I come into my email. I want to be able to see it so I can say, oh, I forgot to finish that email, and then finish it out. So let's go into that further. Going back to settings. Okay, so these are your labs. Again, if you want to select any of those. And then multiple inboxes is over here. But before we get there, let's just click on offline. If you want to install Gmail offline so you can do some things with your email offline, you can select that. I don't have that, so I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like, but it's an option. So multiple inboxes. Here's where you can put your titles in. So I have one titled to do and then one titled drafts. Now, the way it works is you have to give it some sort of information about what you want to go into that inbox. So I want anything that has a purple star to go into my to-do inbox. So what you need to type is, if you're going to use a star, you'll type in has, colon, and then purple star, or blue star, or red star, and you need a little hyphen in between the color and the star. And that means anytime you put a star, a certain color star, it will go into that particular inbox. Then this one, my drafts, I have is, colon, drafts. So anything that from the side over here, I believe there is a category that says drafts. Okay, so drafts is here. So if you want it to be is spam, which would be weird. I don't know why you'd want an inbox spam. Is chats or is important. You could type that in here and then it would go into that inbox. So it looks like you can have 4 of these. I think I said 5 earlier, but it looks like you can only have 4. extra inboxes. And then here you can tell how many conversations you want to show. So again, I select 10 because more than 10 looks overwhelming to me. And then you can show where you want it to go. So I have mine below my main inbox. I could have it above, or I could have it to the right. That's totally up to you. And then save your changes and you'll be good to go. So let me show you quickly how that actually works. Okay. So there are a few people I definitely want to get back to today. So let's say I'm not going to do it right now. So when I click the star, it turns purple. And the reason it turns purple is because in the settings, remember when we were looking at the different colored stars and I had selected the purple star? That's why it turns purple. If I had a different color, it would turn a different color. So I want to get back to these people today, so I make them purple stars. And then when I hit refresh in my to-do box, they show up down there like magic, right? So if I don't want them in my inbox anymore because I've already seen them up there, then I would click the boxes on the side here and archive, and it takes them out of my inbox, but it keeps them on my to-do list. So hopefully that makes sense. And then I only have one thing left in my inbox. Yay! But obviously I have some communication to do down there. All right, so the last thing that we haven't looked at yet is themes. So your themes are the way you want your whole email page to look. So you'll click Set Theme, and then you have a bunch of different photos to choose from. So if you want a background that, I had Lake Tahoe for a while, just to have a really serene kind of feel to your inbox, you can do that. You can select any of those. You can also upload your own photos with this button down in the bottom right hand corner. You can change your text background from light to dark. It's really subtle. It just changed right up there. I'm going to keep it light. You can add a vignette to darken the corners. And I'm just going to keep it normal. And if you have a photo in the back that you don't want to be like totally crisp, you can blur it out a little bit so that it doesn't distract as much from your words. Okay, for now, I'm just going to keep the solid color. So we're going with the mustard and click save. Okay, so that is it. Those are kind of my favorite features, and those are the steps that I have used to really streamline my inbox and be able to celebrate inbox 0 every day. I hope this has been helpful for you. I would love to hear if you have followed this system, and even a few days from now or a few weeks from now, I'd love to hear how it's going. So please feel free to contact me anywhere on social media or even send me an email. I would love to hear from you. So best of luck to you. I wish you inbox 0 every day from now until forevermore. We can do this together. Take care.